go ahead and call the Circleville City Council meeting to order. It is Tuesday, August the 6th, 2024 at 7 p.m. Melissa, could you do the roll call, please?
Keller.
Here.
Hedges.
Yeah, here.
Flitzka.
Here.
Tice.
Here.
Hallinan.
Here.
Moats.
Here.
Brooks.
Here.
Duval.
Here.
Could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father, who
Art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not to temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Council, you received a copy of the minutes from it says July 2nd. Unless it wouldn't be July 2nd, would it?
16.
July the 16th council meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes?
Not.
Jerry?
I do have one correction, please. We need to change the date of the minutes that were approved at that meeting to July 2nd, 2024. It says June 18th, and the minutes that were actually approved were from the July 2nd meeting.
Okay. Melissa, did you get that?
Yes, sir.
Is that a motion?
Yes. Make a
Is there a
motion.
second to that? So second by Zach Brooks. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
That motion is approved. Now how about the disposal of the minutes from the July 16th meeting? Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve those with that correction.
Approved with that correction by Sherry Tice, second by Jeff Hallinan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Great, thank you very much. Reports from council members or committee reports. Does any council member have a report? Katie Hedges, the finance chair.
Thank you, President Keller. We had one finance meeting July 30th. From that, we have a ordinance that is on tonight's agenda that I will speak to when we get to that portion. And then we had another finance committee right prior to this meeting at 6:45, and there will be legislation for that at a later date.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else? Jeff Hallinan, the safety committee chair.
Thank you, sir. We had a safety committee meeting on July the 30th, and we developed one ordinance that will be presented for that.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Tom Duvall, the service committee chair.
First, I'd like to announce a service committee meeting on the 20th at 6:30. That's again in front of council next 2 weeks from now. And on the 16th, we brought forward the ordinance. I'm going to call it the restriping of Court Street ordinance. And then on the 30th, we talked about Kids Palooza and Rock for Toss, both of which we will discuss this evening.
Great, thank you. Can you tell me the time again for your August 20th meeting?
The August 20th is 6:30.
6:30. Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, sir.
Tom Klitzka.
Judicial Committee is going to be reviewing with all of us this evening 2 ordinances and 2 resolutions that are important to the city, and we'll discuss them more as time allows. Yes.
Very good. Sherry Tice, the strategic planning committee chair.
Thank you, President Keller. There will be a strategic planning meeting next Tuesday, August 13th at 7 o'clock. We have 3 ordinances to discuss that night.
So council, just a refresher, next Tuesday, 7 o'clock, strategic planning committee here in council chambers. Prior to council on August the 20th at 6:30, there will be a service committee meeting. Okay, thank you very much. Reports of the city officials here tonight as our guest. We have the law director and the mayor.
Thank you, President Keller. On behalf of the Law Director's Office, just to provide council with some updates and citizens. July 2024 criminal numbers out of my office. We opened 159 cases. We closed 137 cases. My office was responsible for handling 56 officer notifications, 97 subpoenas, and 98 discovery demands. Additionally, I've been working on training with our local law enforcement agencies, not only within the city, but also within the county. We've created new pretrial statements and OVI checkpoint list for our officers, as well as aiding them in making sure that our criminal complaints are in compliance with the law. Additionally, this past week, we have started roll call training with the Circleville Police Department, and we are now beginning our phases of formal OVI training with Ohio State Highway Patrol. On Monday, my office finally received a full-time employee. I was able to hire and swear in Attorney Keith Brewster. Mr. Brewster joined us from actually the Pickaway County Prosecutor's Office, where he prosecuted the abuse, neglect, dependency docket, which is what I formerly had done too, as well as he's had 4 years prior experience in Highland County. So he's predominantly going to be responsible for the handling of municipal court cases. But then that obviously aids me to aid and work with counsel in the city on any outstanding legal issues. This evening, I would like to commend Ryan Mays of the Circleville Police Department. I, and as many of you in this room, also had the pleasure of attending the National Night Out at Ted Lewis Park. Officer Mays had some bounce houses, a DJ, some food secured for the community to come out and to do various touch of trucks. We had EMS, fire department, as well as the Life Flight helicopter landed this evening. So I do think it was a great opportunity for our safety force members to engage with the public. And I know how much work he tried to put in to get this off the ground and for us to have, I think, our first formal recognition of this within the city. So I would like to give kudos to him with regards to that. Other than that, the only other thing I will comment at this time, and I will also raise the comment again on subsection G of the agenda tonight, is an ordinance regarding the composition of basically the Circleville Department of Utilities and declaring an emergency. I would respectfully ask that council consider tabling this ordinance this evening. And the reason why is my office is still currently working on the comp plan. Obviously, a couple weeks ago, council was presented with the NUEO contract. The last part of employment negotiations and employment for city individuals is this comp plan. We had hoped to had it ready tonight to present to finance. However, there were some issues that had realistically come to rise late last week. So with that being said, unfortunately, in preparing some of the ordinances that need to be updated for the comp plan, this one had already made it through committee. And I was able to pull the other ones in advance of the committee meetings. So I would respectfully ask, because this is part of that comp plan, and when the formal comp plan is presented to council, it may make more sense to table it until that date.
Sure. Thank you for that recommendation. And I echo your comments too. Tonight was a great event for the public and our safety forces. It was really hot, and we still had a wonderful turnout.
And-
A great positive PR experience.
And the kids really enjoyed the canine officer as well.
They did.
That was
The
a
dog
great
bite was awesome.
Yes.
Thank you.
Nice setup.
Thank you. Mayor Michelle Bland.
Yes, thank you. Just have a few things. One of the things that I wanted to do when I got elected to this position, or when the citizens of Circleville voted for me to be in here, was to make sure that we tried to break down any silos within not only the city, but the county. And so since the beginning of the year, I've tried to build relationships with people that the city has business with. And some of those people are the mayors of the villages throughout the county. So Brenda, the administrative assistant for the mayor's office, and I had dinner with the mayors of South Bloomfield, Asheville, Commercial Point, and Williamsport. We also invited the mayors of New Holland and Tarleton. They were unable to join us, but we are opening those doors to conversations of how we can provide services not only to our citizens, but to each other through the role that we sit in as mayor. Me being the mayor of the only city within the county, being able to work with those guys, some who have been in office for multiple years, but some who are also brand new, and building those relationships. So really excited about that. Hope that we can continue to do that and have some pretty cool things that are coming out of those meetings. They all agree that they would like to see that be a more consistent thing that we do. just some events that the Office of the Mayor has taken part in. The 3-on-3 basketball tournament that was late in July, Family Fun Day at Ted Lewis Park. The last week of July, I spent 5 days up at Ohio State with the John Glenn School of Public Affairs, their Public Leadership Academy. I was one of 4 mayors, 2 state reps, 4 county commissioners, and the list goes on and on. There were about 22 of us, and we spent the whole week learning about government and policy issues and how our position specifically can influence those from our chairs. We're starting preparations for the greatest free show on earth. Everyone should know that. We are starting preparations for the Circleville Pumpkin Show, starting meetings on safety, setup, and different things like that. So please be on the lookout for announcements coming out through social media and through the newspaper on parking passes and other things like that as we prepare for this year's show. This past Friday, I got 2 pies to the face, one from a city employee, which was a great time supporting Special Olympics, and it was good to see everyone at Pumpkin Show Park for that event. Friday evening before that, I released a statement to the media about the hiring of a safety director. So Mr. Rob Ware will be our next safety director. He will start in the month of August. We're excited for him to join the city. And then earlier tonight, there was an ordinance passed about the hiring of a consultant, and there was mention about the hiring process for the chief of police. This coming Saturday, there is an assessment for that process for the candidates for that position. After that, there will be a panel interview that will be conducted for any candidate for that position. And then after that, it will go for appointment to the chief of police. So we hope to have a chief of police identified by the end of the month, if not the middle of September. So please also be on the lookout for that. Any questions?
Council, at this time, do you have questions for elected officials that are here tonight?
When did you say that testing was going to happen? Friday? Tomorrow?
Saturday.
Or, I'm sorry, Saturday.
This weekend, okay.
I'm already on Friday. I'm sorry.
Any questions for the law director or mayor? No? All right, thank you very much. This brings us to the part of the meeting where the public can address city council. I know we have a lot of people here tonight. Thank all of you for being here. What I'd like to do first is, I know a lot of you are here to talk about the restriping of Court Street. There's also some other people here to speak about other topics. So before we start, if you'll just let them go first. People who do not want to talk about the restriping of Court Street, if you want to come to the podium, come right on up. And give us your name and your address, and the clerk will keep track of your time. You have 5 minutes to speak, and she'll give you a 30-second and end the time.
Thank you, President. My name is Susan Metzger. I am representing Pickaway Addiction Action Coalition. The coalition is at 770 North Court Street in Circleville, and having to do with a moratorium of having any type of retail marijuana establishments for our community. It is very, very important. Studies have shown, evidence-based studies, of how this can really degrade a neighborhood, a community. And having such retail establishments here in Circleville does not benefit the growth of our youth and of our adults. There is evidence-based studies that have shown that the different side effects that can lead to catastrophic things for our youth and for our adults. So I ask that the council definitely consider that moratoriums of any way, shape, and form be put on marijuana establishments. There is absolutely nothing recreational about it. It is all for adult use, and it is still as legally as a Schedule I drug. So we need to make sure that our citizens are safe from different types of things that may infiltrate our communities. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Anyone else like to speak to council about a different topic? Okay. So what we're going to do now is take comments about the restriping of Court Street. Our council rules allow for 15 minutes on any given topic. So with the turnout that we have, We'll allow at least 15 minutes for people who are pro restriping the Court Street and not for restriping the Court Street. The clerk will keep track of your time. Each person can speak up to 5 minutes. If you don't speak 5 minutes, you only speak 1 or 2 minutes, we'll stop the clock and keep it running until we get to 15 and allow at least both sides to talk first, and then we'll see if we go further than that. So you was going to step up first. Mr. Coleman's asked us to, he's presented some information. So give us your name and your address.
Yes, sir. My name is Jeff Coleman, 1480 Kingston Pike. I've presented all of you with some just basic information about considerations for this project if it was to move forward. Like the law director earlier, I urge you to table it on the grounds that we wait till the study is complete from Strand. That Safer Roads for America was presented to us last week, and that's not done yet. They expect that to be done. But this is some good reading for you guys just to think about on why wider streets aren't great and like that. I've done public poll just randomly in 5 hours, 6 hours. There was 154 to keep it existing, 6 that would like some more information from the city, and 2 would like to change Main Street. Again, 6 hours, it was just fun to kind of, because you never know who's going to show up in this room. I wanted to kind of pull the public. I know one of the main concerns on Court Street is parking down at Everett's. I want to ask the committee or the council, how does that become a city problem when that's a business's doing? That's a local business that's creating that problem. I provided one option of maybe that is a remedy to the problem down there for you to look at. And then, once the study comes out and we decide what we would like to do, I did propose a 3-lane option that includes bike paths north and south, because I ride bikes in the city. There are no safe streets. I don't care where you are at, and the sidewalks here are not conducive to riding a bicycle either. So that's all I have. If anyone has any questions for me, I'd be willing to stay afterwards and answer anything you have. Thank you guys for your
Thank you
time.
very much.
Yes, Zach.
I'd just like to add that the business down at Everett's is actually moving out to 23, so that problem will cease to exist.
Solves itself.
Yeah,
Thank you,
here
sir.
in a few months, they won't even be there.
Okay. So now, anybody would like to come to the podium and speak against this restriping, you're welcome to come to the podium. Against, yes. Welcome. If you give us your name and your address.
Hi, name's Aaron Barthelmess, 435 Holiday Lane. Good evening. Just want to reiterate what Jeff was saying here. On 16 July 2024, we presented a letter from Strand and discussed the road diets, and mainly was focused on just this Court Street. Stats and graphs, et cetera, were also discussed. A copy of the letter was made public, but that letter was to find out it was just a small portion of what the overall concept was of what Strand Associates had been collecting, and that report is not done and will not be done until sometime 2025, as Jeff has stated. I just simply ask for one time that the restriping of Court Street not be the only focus, but instead we focus on all the streets and the data from Strand supporting the Safe Streets and Roads for All program. That's all I have.
Thank you very much, Aaron. Next. Welcome. If you give us your name and your address.
I'm Tracy Stewart. I live at 361 East Main Street, and I'm here to talk about the comparison and our opinion on East Main Street. The striping for Court wants to be done just like East Main Street is now, I'm assuming. Okay, a couple of things that we'd like to address, my husband and myself. We've been here for 22 years. Court Street and East Main Street. East Main Street, I saw in a document about when people are getting out of their cars on East Main Street, it's a lot safer than it is on Court Street. False. Many, many, many times we have to stop. Wait, look. Okay, kids. Okay, we can go now. Boom. There is never a day on East Main Street you can open up your car door that somebody's not sliding up the side of you that's not going to take your car door off. And speaking of having your cars taken off, in the last 2 years, my husband and myself have lost $75,000 worth of vehicles in front of our home.
Wow.
We have had all of them totaled, except for one, and it was all due to speed. That street is nothing but a drag strip. We have caught on our Ring doorbell camera, we caught Fair Week, 2 motorcycles. We were standing out front talking to our neighbors. They were a blip. stoplight to stoplight, that quick. The speed out there on East Main is ridiculous. You can hear them coming. Used to be, they used to drag race all the way from Duke and Duchess, and they will get in the turn lane too. They'll use both lanes and they will fly until they can get down to Kroger. And it's one right after another. So the safety of the speed and the safety of the road on East Main is out of control anymore. And honestly, Court Street, you're going to have the same thing. And we have people on East Main that park on the curb, not just Court Street, but we have it on East Main because they're afraid that their cars are going to get smashed, like us. We had a truck that was shoved 11 feet up into our front yard. The tail bed was split in half. The kid hit it so hard. Had a brand new Traverse, had a brand new Palisade. The third kid that hit it, he hit it so hard, he spun in backwards and shoved it up into a telephone pole. Then the first kid that hit for the speed, he took out my son's truck, our brand new car, hit the neighbor's F-150, tossed it 22 feet into the back of my son's car. And this is all on East Main Street, guys, where we don't have driveways. We have to park on Main Street. So when they talk about Court Street and the accidents and stuff happening on personally for us, we have had to be responsible because these people didn't have enough insurance, but they didn't even have insurance. So let's not talk about how East Main Street's safer than Court Street, because personally it isn't. And our house has been hit. We've had people run off the road, go across yards, come right in and wham, hit our front porch. So that's it. I just wanted to talk. We do need a lot safer, and it would be nice if we had some kind of a bike for the kids that come down and they ride their bikes, or Jeff and them that are out riding their bikes. We don't have anything like that, and we really, really should. So that's it. That's all I've got.
Thank you very much.
Burrito 206 South Coast Street. As to piggyback on what she was saying, if anybody wants to see the videos of those accidents, I have them and pictures. Where it happened on Main Street, the other car that was involved was a friend of mine's vehicle, and cars pushed up. I mean, the guy was flying, took out 4 vehicles at one time. I mean, they had to have the city allow them to park their cars on their property on Main Street because their cars got hit so many times. So the speeding on Main Street, I mean, I don't think one lane is going to stop people from speeding. But anyway, also taking consideration on how slowing down traffic for people for lunchtime might affect businesses downtown.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else that's against the restriping? Let's see how much time we got.
8 minutes.
Still got plenty of time. Welcome. Give us your name and your address.
Erica Morgan, 521 North Court Street. Speaking of that surface, where it's 2 lanes in front of my house, they do the drag racing, and they even, before they get to the 4 lanes, are passing in front of my house. There's no need for this change. It is just a bunch of problems that I'm going to see. My one issue has still never been taken care of about the whole parking in the back and everything else. It's just kind of, I've gotten a lot of backlash in it, and speaking from of my issues, I've gotten more knife stabbed in my back, people watching me. It's been great. And all those anonymous calls and everything else, I'm fine with that. I must be doing something right.
Thank you. Anyone else against the restriping? Okay. Anyone for the striping? You're welcome to come to the podium. Okay. Anyone else would like to address City Council for any other reason? Yes, sir. Come right back on up.
I'd like to take a moment to talk to you guys about Kids Palooza and Rock for Tots. I believe both are on your guys' agenda tonight also. Kids Palooza is a 3rd year we've done this downtown, correct? 4th year? 3rd or 4th year we've done it downtown. It's our 5th year total. It's gotten bigger every year. It's a nonprofit thing that we run, car show, free community day, free bounce houses for the kids. We got a local tattoo artist inking kids this year with temporary tattoos. We're trying to involve everyone in our community. And this year we've actually extended, we're asking you guys to extend us onto Watt Street as far as growing a little bit more. Because last year we had almost 200 cars, and we're hoping this year we push the 250, 300 range. And we just would rather have the space and not turn someone away. And everything from this turns around and goes right back into Pickaway County Community Action Toys for Tots. So we've talked to the Eagles, we've talked to local banks, and we're getting in sponsorship for this. And we just hope the council recognizes that and lets us continue to have this kind of end of summer festival downtown, if you will. And then I'll let Kev talk about Rock for Tots because that's his baby, and I'm just kind of back in the backs on it.
Come on up. Kevin, give us your name and your address, please.
Kevin Clifton, 5817 Tarleton Road. I am the one in charge of Kids Palooza along with Jeff and the new one that we're bringing to town, Rock for Tots. I came because there was some issues about me trying to shut down Main Street. I had a meeting with Michelle earlier today and I've talked with Tom. My biggest thing was with Main Street is safety. A lot of people said, well, we heard you just want it shut so you can put the food trucks across the street facing. Food trucks have nothing to do with why I want to shut down Main Street. The kids zone will be in Eagles parking lot in the back. That alley and the alley behind Toodles will be shut down. The main reason was if any kids run up through that alley and dart out in between a car onto Main Street, that's a liability to me. Also, the way we're doing this show, and Tom asked, why don't you do it in Pumpkin Show Park? The reason I did not do this show in Pumpkin Show Park is because we're coinciding with Ashley at Toodles. We're using her inside stage and my outside stage, and bands will be playing back and forth all day. The other safety concern is the kids zone's free. The Touch a Truck, kids, Round Town Radio is going to be over there playing music for that area. And to do the concert, we're collecting a toy as the cost to get in. I have to shut down the sidewalk and file people into one gated area in order to do that. So if I shut the street down, that allows me to make the sidewalk safer for everybody else that's filing in, and we're making lines for the show. So that was the reason for me asking for Main Street to be shut down. It was more of the safety concern. Plus, we are expecting a lot of the community to come out to this because it's not every day you get to go see a national recording artist for the cost of a toy. There again, Rock for Tots is 100% all going to PICA. Whatever we gain that day, cash or it comes 100% right back to PICA. And same with Kids Palooza. I did ask for another street this year, and some people kind of looked at me like, why? He explained it. We did overfill last year. We're just trying to make it to where everybody in the community can come out, and there's enough room for everybody to enjoy it. We are, with that, taking Watt Street, changing the layout to make it safer, again, there for the kids and the community. Normally, we have the attractions and the vendors and all that stuff right on court, right in front of Pumpkin Show Park. Well, our biggest concern was parking cars, like down Pickaway Street. We can't get them this way. You almost have to turn them sideways, so you lose so much room getting more cars in. So we're taking the kids zone to Pickaway Street or Pickney. The bounce houses and everything are going to be down that way, and then the cars will line up like we have been for First Friday, doubled up all the way down Court Street. And then the section of Watt Street we want is for overflow and like motorcycles.
I will tell you, closing Main Street is new, but I wish you all the luck in the world, and maybe it'll grow to something to be really big.
I'm hoping. I mean,
we've Main Street during Pumpkin Show, but if it's something new and it's a success and a hit,
and that's all we're trying to do. We're just trying to give the community something else to do. I mean, Jenny Rhodes posts all the time. What does the city want to see? Well, we're also working on another one that's like a music writers event to where we actually bring in singer-songwriters and that kind of stuff. So that's in the works as well, but that one would probably be at Pumpkin Show Park. So,
Okay.
but if there's any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them as far as Rock for Tots. And all I can say is I hope that you do pass us so we can enjoy this day.
Great. Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks.
Anyone else like to speak? Okay. We're going to move on to communications. Melissa, have any communications?
Yes, we received one from David Crawford with the lease oversight report for city officials. He said that they had met in April and then again this month, and they are exceeding the initial expectations. That the initial income tax withholding of $610,300 has approximately doubled since the inception of that lease agreement. And they will be having another board meeting October 7th. And then from Mark Bidwell, we received the 2023 audit, and there was only one issue that they found that they suggested for purchasing controls. And management of the city has already agreed with that and has put in implementation to make sure that that will pass future audits.
Great. Thank you very much. Council, hearing the communications, can I have a motion to place this on file? So moved by Zach Brooks, second by Jeff Hallinan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you very much. That brings us to the business portion of tonight's meeting. We have multiple pieces of legislation. So Melissa, go right ahead with the first one.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the Director of Public Service to remove the existing 4-lane street markings on the North and South Court Street from Pleasant Street to the connector road on the south end and replace with 2 through lanes and a center turn lane.
Council, you've heard the first reading of this ordinance that originated from the Service Committee. Tom, would you like to report on it?
Just to report that the Service Committee did discuss this when we saw the presentation from Safe Streets and Roads for All. It is our impression this would be the concluding presentation. This is actually the initiation of that project. It's been going on since, I think, 2018, if my date is correct, which means it's been going on for a while. It will be finished in March of 2025. So it is our decision to table this motion at this point, our recommendation to table this motion at this point until we can see that final report. And I would make a motion to that effect.
So you're going to motion to table this ordinance
Yes,
until
sir.
the study's completed?
Yes, sir.
Which is March of 2025.
Yes, sir.
Is there a second to that? Seconded by Katie Hedges. Roll call, please, on the motion to table this ordinance.
Hedges,
Yes.
Klitschko,
Yes.
Tice,
Yes.
Hallinan,
Yes.
Moats,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Duval.
Yes.
The ordinance is tabled.
A resolution authorizing Take Back the Strip to use city streets for their annual Kids Palooza for 2024 and declaring an emergency.
Council, you've heard the first reading of this resolution that's also from the Service Committee. Tom?
Jeff has made it very easy for us. We appreciate this type of involvement in the city that's good for everybody. And it's really neat, just like the 3-on-3 basketball and other activities. We want to encourage that. And on that basis, we're moving that it would be our decision to move this forward for passage.
Any other comments or questions? Is there a motion?
I just want to say thank you to the gentlemen who are organizing these wonderful community events. And I will make a motion for adoption. Or actually, we need
Suspension of
to
rules?
Yes.
suspend the rules first.
Motion by Sherry Tice to suspend council rules, seconded by Zach Brooks. Roll call, please, on the motion to suspend the rules.
Hedges,
Yes.
Klitschko.
Yes.
Tice.
Yes.
Hallinan,
Yes.
Moats,
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
Duval.
Yes.
Council, you're free to act on the resolution. Motion for adoption by Katie Hedges, seconded by Zach Brooks. Roll call, please, on the motion for adoption.
Hedges,
Yes.
Klitschko.
Yes.
Tice.
Yes.
Hallinan.
Yes.
Moats.
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
Duval.
Yes.
The resolution's adopted.
08/50/2024. A resolution authorizing Take Back the Strip to use city streets for Rock for Tots for 2024 and declaring an emergency.
Council, you've heard the first reading of this resolution again from the Service Committee.
Again, thank you. You actually called me to give me an update on why we needed to shut down main streets from noon to 11. And we totally support that. My first reaction is, you want to do what? But we have pumpkin show every year, okay? So take a deep breath, Deval. It's going to be okay. Bottom line is, it sounds like it's really going to be exciting. It's going to be a lot of fun. And thank you. And on that basis, we would move for passage.
Okay. How about a motion to suspend the rules?
That's two.
So moved by Tom Duval, seconded by Zach Brooks. Roll call, please, on the motion to suspend the rules.
Hedges.
Yes.
Plitzka.
Yes.
Tice.
Yes.
Hallinan.
Yes.
Moats.
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
Duval.
Yes.
Motion for passage.
Motion for passage by Jeff Hallinan, seconded by John Moats. Roll call, please, on the motion for passage.
Hedges.
Yes.
Plitzka.
Yes.
Tice.
Yes.
Hallinan.
Yes.
Moats.
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
Duval.
Yes.
Resolution's adopted.
0851, 2024. An ordinance to accept the plat of Heritage Ponds, Section 5, consisting of 69 lots.
Council, you've heard the first reading of this ordinance that came from the Judicial Committee. Tom?
Yes, I'm going to ask our city planner to step up to the podium and just give us her insight.
Great. Hannah, welcome.
Hi. Yes, so this is the final plat for Heritage Pond Section 5. This came out of the Planning and Zoning Commission with a recommendation for passage. There were a few conditions that Planning and Zoning put on that, but those have all been met, so, yeah. Pretty straightforward. That'll be 66 new lots created to finish out Heritage Ponds. And we've got the developer here if you guys have any further questions.
Hannah, will these be a part of the NCA?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
66 or 69?
It says 69 here.
68.
It's coming along well, though. It looks nice. The roads are in, the curbs are there. They're doing a great job.
Lots of people out walking and taking advantage, no question.
Okay, 68, because the title says 69.
Does that one yet say 16?
From
So-
me at 68.
So we can amend that.
Okay.
We were
Have to be
presented
corrected.
69.
Okay,
Just amend it.
okay. Thank you very much.
Do we need to make a motion to amend it?
So let's make a motion to amend in the title where it says 69. Is there anywhere else? To change it to 68?
Yes, sir.
So moved by Tom Klitzka, seconded by Sherry Tice to change the title from 69 lots to 68 lots. Roll call, please, on that amendment.
Hedges.
Yes.
Plitzka.
Yes.
Tice.
Yes.
Hallinan.
Yes.
Moats.
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
Duval.
Yes.
Council, you're free to act on the ordinance you've heard from the planner and committee chair.
Motion to suspend the rules?
Motion to suspend the rules by Sherry Tice, seconded by Jeff Hallinan. Roll call, please, on the motion to suspend the rules.
Hedges.
Yes.
Plitzka.
Yes.
Tice.
Yes.
Hallinan.
Yes.
Moats.
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
Duval.
Yes.
Rules are suspended. Council, you're free to act on the ordinance. Motion for passage by Katie Hedges, seconded by Tom Klitzka. Roll call, please, on the motion for passage.
Hedges.
Yes.
Plitzka.
Yes.
Tice.
Yes.
Hallinan.
Yes.
Moats.
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
Duval.
Yes.
The ordinance passes.
0852, 2024.
Thank you.
Resolution appointing members to the Joint Planning and Zoning Board created pursuant to a 2006 annexation agreement with the Circleville Township.
Council, you've heard the first reading of this resolution, again, heard through the Judicial Committee. Tom?
Yes, sir. I think I'm going to turn this over to Ms. Tice. She had some questions and concerns previously, so I'll make sure that everything has been answered.
Yes. Hannah, would you come up and explain? I had just had a question about the setup of the board and who was going to establish the bylaws, and you did explain that to me. Thank you. So if you could share that with everyone, I would appreciate it.
Yeah, so this is coming out of an annexation agreement with Circleville Township that was signed in 2006, but has not really been acted on yet. So with some development interest that we've actually received an annexation application for now already near the high school, we need to put this board in place to review any applications in that annexation territory before going to council or planning and zoning or wherever it goes from there. So these are the two appointees for the city. There will also be 2 from the township and 1 from the county on this board. And we've been working with P3 to kind of get this first meeting scheduled and set up. And they are working on a set of bylaws to have ready to present at this first meeting that will establish the terms and a lot of other details that were left out of the annexation agreement. So that should all be prepared for the first meeting of the board whenever they schedule that.
Other questions or comments for Hannah?
Nope.
Great, thank you very much. Is there a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules, please.
Motion to suspend the rules by Tom Klitschko, seconded by Sherry Tice. Roll call, please, on the motion to suspend the rules.
Hedges.
Yes.
Blitzka.
Yes.
Tice.
Yes.
Hallinan.
Yes.
Moats.
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
Duval.
Yes.
Rules are suspended.
I'd like a motion for passage, please.
Motion for passage by Tom Klitschko, seconded by Sherry Tice. Roll call, please, on the motion for passage.
Hedges.
Yes.
Blitzka.
Yes.
Tice.
Yes.
Hallinan.
Yes.
Moats.
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
Duval.
Yes.
The resolution's adopted.
0853, 2024. A resolution imposing a 12-month moratorium on the retail cultivation, processing, and dispensing of adult use and medical marijuana in the city of Circleville.
Council, you've heard the first reading of this resolution, again, heard through the judicial committee. Tom?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Well, it's been an ongoing situation since things were passed back in November. We do certainly want to thank Hannah Wynn, our city planner, for the work that she has done, and also our law director, Kendra Kinney, for making this resolution happen. This is a 12-month, based on what we see is the state is still kind of working out some of the issues that go with the subject itself. So from our standpoint, we're requesting a 12-month moratorium, and then we will come back probably mid-year in 2025 with additional ordinances on the subject itself. But for now, we need some time. The state hasn't really given us a lot of direction, so on too. So we'd like to move this forward, please.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions or comments?
I was
Zach?
just confused as to what kind of questions are we waiting to hear back about pertaining to the state side of things? The state has a whole section in the codified ordinances about facilities, dispensaries, operations. All of that information is already out. I have several of those documents that I'd be glad to give to council. So I just don't know exactly what we're waiting for at this point.
There's some additional information. The one thing is too, is that we have the opportunity to pass a moratorium and not do anything on this to keep the dispensaries out of Circleville itself. So even with that, and what recently just the information was put out from the state itself, did not seem like we had enough information. And we're really not looking to bring in a clinic or a dispensary here. But we wanted some more time to study it from our standpoint, listen to the community and so on too. Itself, there has not been a whole lot of discussion in the community about this and so on. So we're looking at it from a safer standpoint, and the committee, as what Ms. Metzger had mentioned along the way too, there's a whole lot more to it than what we know at this time. So we saw it better to put a moratorium out there for 12 months and then bring it back
So the
next year.
moratorium's not saying no, we're just going to put a hold on.
We're just putting a hold on it that would at this point in time preclude anybody from coming in at this point in time until the moratorium is either lifted or we pass legislation relative to it. Mr. Brooks, I think just to kind of give you a little more clarity, this morning, I believe, or today was the first day that recreational use was actually
Allowed.
actually occurred allowed, yes.
Yeah.
So essentially, as a city and municipality, we have the ability to either make a law that is most restrictive and completely prohibit it.
Yeah,
Or we can make a law that amends how many do we want in, what's the tax revenue? And I think that those are probably some of the answers as council you're going to want to know is what are sales looking like? Is this a money opportunity we're giving up outweighed with the cost that, what else does this bring forth? And I think that that's kind of the additional information that may be able to be gathered within the next year.
I definitely see this as a huge money loss. 12 months seems like far too long. I would much prefer it to be 30 to 90 days rather than wait a whole year to make a decision. This is something that we're going to lose substantial money on if we as a city don't jump on the tax opportunities.
Okay.
But thank you. Just two comments. I think one, it's something that we could lose money on. We don't know that. And secondly, I would just remind all of us that this group of people received quite a bit of funds to support drug rehabilitation and education. And this group belabored that for a very long time about different groups of people that should receive those funds. The people who spoke today were one of the people that we discussed and the good work that they're putting toward this. So I think this moratorium is very much in alignment with the decisions that council has already made to kind of see what happens as this evolves.
Sure.
Yes, and as I recall, our planner came and told us that right now, there's no specifications for any kind of marijuana. They could just come in under general business and set up anywhere, and we wouldn't have any type of rules in place. So this just gives us time to consider what we may want to do for the community and make smart choices rather than leaving it just wide open.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to it. I just think 12 months is far too long. I think that we need to make a decision sooner rather than later. And it just seems like 12 months is dragging our feet.
Jeff Hallen.
Don't we have an ordinance in place for medical marijuana? I thought we did that.
I think when my office went back and reviewed, I think there was pending legislation, but it never was voted on. So that's why this moratorium lists both. Obviously, pursuant to two different sections in the Ohio Revised Code, we do have the ability to limit to do one or the other, or vice versa. So
Yeah, I was thinking it was more for that reason because all I'm hearing on the radio is the medical ones are the ones that are dispensing the recreational right now.
Right.
And I was thinking it was to kind of to curb that as well too. My apologies. Thanks.
Tom?
Just that I thank you. Your information is very valuable to me, and I appreciate you sharing with council.
Mayor?
Yeah, I was just going to speak to Jeff's point. One of the conferences that I went to earlier in the year had a whole section on this topic and on dispensaries. Medical marijuana dispensaries did have the ability to be first up to be able to distribute adult use marijuana. And so they had a lot of their things in place already. The zoning was in place. Those decisions were already made on where those are going to be. There are a lot of rules about where the dispensaries can be. So it would behoove us to take a little bit of time to think about whether we would or would not like to have those in the city of Circleville. How much revenue would it generate? And taking into consideration how close they can be to one another. And there's only a certain number of them that are allowed in the state as well. And so that's also something to consider as well.
Jeff?
Just one more. Would 6 months would get us into the next year? Would 6 months be more reasonable? I don't know. Doesn't really matter to me. But I mean, even at 12 months, we can review it before that 12-month time frame, right? We could review it next month if we want.
And I think
that would be correct.
Okay, so there's no sense in that.
Just because
Yeah,
we
that
say
makes sense.
12 doesn't mean we have to use the whole 12.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Perfect. Thank you.
And that's where I look at it too. We can bring this back. Resolutions are short term. It's not an ordinance. It's not, something that's necessarily cut and dry. We've got time. It's south, but we need to do something. And this will give us the opportunity.
Councilor, is there a motion?
Just a quick question for the law director. I mean, if we did decide to do something in, say, 8 months, we could come back and
Correct. This is
override
just
this
a resolution we can override. We
Short term.
can rescind it. There's no problem there.
Okay,
I'll
that's
make
what I was saying.
motion
So it's
to-
not set in stone.
Motion to suspend rules.
Motion to suspend the rules by Jeff Allen.
Second.
Second by Tom Klitzka. Roll call, please, on the motion to suspend the rules.
Hedges,
Yes.
Blitzka.
Yes.
Tice.
Yes.
Hallinan.
Yes.
Moats.
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
Duval.
Yes.
Council rules are suspended. You're free to act.
I'll make a motion for passage, please.
For passage by Tom Klitzka, seconded by Katie Hedges. Roll call, please, on the motion for passage.
Hedges.
Yes.
Blitzka.
Yes.
Tice.
Yes.
Hallinan.
Yes.
Moats.
Yes.
Brooks.
No.
Duval.
Yes.
Ordinance, resolution passes.
0854, 2024. An ordinance amending chapter 139.02 of the codified ordinances of the city of Circleville, establishing the composition of the city of Circleville Department of Public Utilities and declaring an emergency.
Council, you've heard the first reading of this ordinance from the Judicial Committee.
I'd like
Yeah.
to make a motion to table this as requested by the
Yeah.
law director.
Yeah, you heard the comments from the law director.
Opening, yeah, we will support her.
Jeff
to
Allen
say the
motions to table the ordinance
I'll
per
second.
the advice of the law director. Second, who said second?
That's Zach.
Zach Brooks. Roll call, please, on the motion to table this ordinance.
Hedges.
Yes.
Blitzka.
Yes.
Tice.
Yes.
Hallinan.
Yes.
Moats.
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
Duval.
Yes.
Ordinance is tabled.
Thank you.
An ordinance amending the annual appropriation ordinance in the general fund 101 capital improvement 0.4% income tax fund, 206 safety forces 0.5% income tax fund, 227 justice reinvestment and incentive grant fund, 260 waterworks operating fund 808 and sanitary sewer operating fund 909 of the city of Circleville.
Council, you've heard the first reading of this ordinance that came from the Finance Committee. Katie?
Thank you, President Keller. This was our 10th housekeeping ordinance that Finance had reviewed this year. The total of the ordinance is just over $1 million. The majority of that, $800,000, was allocating funds in regards to a potential purchase of the ODOT property on Highland Avenue. That was to move funds to allocate for escrow. That was different than what happened in the Finance meeting today. There was a total of $709,000 that came from the 101 account, $100,000 coming from 206, 808, and 909, $75,000 from 260, which is actually a receiving of grant funds, as well as was the funds from 227, which was just over $15,000, also for grant funds. It did come out of Finance with a recommendation for passage.
Any other comments or questions? Is there a motion? Oh, Michelle.
Just I don't know if it's on the official copy, but there's a typo in the title. It should be income, not income.
It probably just copied and pasted wrong.
Okay, just pointing that out.
It's correct on the ordinance.
Okay. That's what I was.
Motion?
Motion to suspend the rules.
Motion to suspend the rules by Katie Hedges, second by Sherry Tice. Roll call, please, on the motion to suspend the rules.
Hedges.
Yes.
Blitzka.
Yes.
Tice.
Yes.
Hallinan.
Yes.
Moats.
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
Duval.
Yes.
Council, you're free to act on the ordinance.
Motion for passage.
Motion for passage by Jeff Hallinan, seconded by Zach Brooks. Roll call, please, on the motion for passage.
Hedges.
Yes.
Blitzka.
Yes.
Tice.
Yes.
Hallinan.
Yes.
Moats.
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
Duval.
Ordinance passes.
0854, 2024. An ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Safety of the City of Circleville to solicit bids and to enter into a contract with the lowest and best bidder after advertisement for the trapping and disposal of nuisance animals with the city and declaring an emergency.
Council, you've heard the first reading of this ordinance that came from the Safety Committee. Jeff Hallinan?
Yes, thank you. Finally, we move forward with this. We have the terminology that we need. Thanks to the law director, we also have an opportunity that will move forward with this ordinance to be able to possibly get grants to help with the feral cat population as well too. As we all have discussed, all of these animals are a nuisance. And if I can beg of anybody from the city, please do not put pet food out, because pet food will bring possums and skunks and raccoons to your property. So the less that we feed animals, the more we will not have this problem. But with this said, this is designed so that we can get somebody to take care of those nuisance animals and remove them from the city if somebody has trouble with it.
Other questions or comments? Is there a
Motion to
motion?
suspend rules?
Motion to suspend the rules by Jeff Hallinan, seconded by Tom Kutzka. Roll call, please, on the motion to suspend the rules.
Hedges,
Yes.
Blitzka,
Yes.
Tice,
Yes.
Hallinan.
Yes.
Moats.
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
Duval.
Yes.
Council, you're free to act on the ordinance.
Motion for passage.
Motion for passage by Zach Brooks, seconded by Jeff Hallinan. Roll call, please, on the motion for passage.
Hedges.
Yes.
Blitzka.
Yes.
Tice.
Yes.
Hallinan.
Yes.
Moats.
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
Duval.
Yes.
Ordinance passes.
08/55/2024.
Melissa, thank you very much. Did a good job. That brings us to the new business portion of tonight's meeting. We have, is our candidate here?
Yes.
Great. Historical Review Board volunteer applicant to serve on that committee. At the last regular council meeting, council interviewed one of the applicants. Second one is here, so Cheryl, I'll let you take over since you are the liaison for that committee.
Thank you, President Keller. Yes, we have 2 applicants for an opening on the Historic Review Board. The new member will be appointed to a 3-year term, which will end on September 1st, 2027. The zoning code states that council shall make a good faith effort to appoint persons with professional training or demonstrated interest and expertise in the fields of historic preservation, architecture, planning, history, or related discipline. Consideration is also given to people who own property or reside within the historic district. So that's why what we are looking for in an applicant, training or demonstrated interest and expertise in the fields of historic preservation, architecture, planning, history, or related discipline. We're very honored to have 2 applicants for this position, and we'd like to thank you for your willingness to serve the city. Mr. Jeff Moorhead was interviewed at our last council meeting, and Mr. Stauser had an emergency, was not able to be here. So he's with us this evening, if you'd like to come on up. Once the interview is complete, we will go into executive session to consider all that we've heard and come back then into open session to make our nomination. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Give us your name and your address.
Well, I'm Mike Strasser. I don't live here. I have a business here at 109 North Court Street. But I was approached about this from Richie. We go back a little ways, and being a part of this community, just like in Grove City, I don't live in Grove City. I actually live in Obetz, but I try to find ways to volunteer or do things in the community that would help me be a part of that community that we're in. And so in Grove City, I was on the board for Visit Grove City for about a year until I got on the board of the Heart of Grove City. There's a whole story with that has to do with the Council of Grove City, but I'm on the the board of the Heart of Grove City now. Is my way of helping out the community in Grove City. So we do a lot of the different events and things that go on with tacos and tequila and the different events that the Heart of Grove City puts on. But it's just a way to be a part of the community and try to give back to what they bring for us with the store that we opened. And we're opening our second store here in Pickaway County on Friday. So just really trying to be a part of the community any way I can be. I was asked if I'd be interested in doing something like this by Richie, and I honestly don't know exactly what all entails. But again, just what he told me, the overview of it is something that I think I would be interested in, and if it helps out, then I would definitely like to be a part of that.
Great. We have listed the qualifications the code requires us to look for. Do you have any training or experience in these areas, or is there other parts of your background that would make you specifically an asset to this board?
No, not as far as that goes. Spent a lot of time in a very old Chase Bank building that's been around for a long time. Dug through a whole bunch of, no, not really, no. But again, it's just something. And that's my time. No, again, it's a way of trying to give back to the community. It's just a way of trying to be involved in the community that we're serving.
Okay. The Historic Review Board does consider applications for certificates of appropriateness to determine if a proposed change to the exterior of a building within the historic district is appropriate to the environmental, architectural, and historic character of the district. The agendas and applications for certificates of appropriateness are sent to the board members a week in advance of the meeting. If appointed, would you have time to go in person and look at the building for which a change is being proposed?
Yes, I spent a lot of time down here, so yes.
Great. That's helpful because
yes,
we do have pictures put up, but it's a whole different thing to see it in person. There are 11 specific criteria, listed in the code to be considered when an application is received by the Historic Review Board. If a property owner proposed a change that does not meet the criteria, would you be willing to put aside your personal opinion and preferences and choose what's best for the aesthetics of the downtown, even if the applicant is a friend or acquaintance?
Yes.
Thank you. What are your favorite historic properties in Circleville?
Well, I mean, trying to think off the top of my head, like I said, I know that the Chase Bank, I've spent a lot of time and I was there for 4 years. There's a lot of history in it. Being inside of it, we had, just digging through the basement when we were trying to clean it out, I found deeds and paperwork from the early 1900s, late 1800s. Some things were super old. We've got pictures that go back from 50, 60 years of before it was Chase Bank. And so I do like that building. It's original. It's very, it's a cool building. I mean, it just is. And then the building that we are in now with the candy store has been around for quite a while. And I went into the basement of that, which is amazing. Runs the whole length of the building. There's elevator shafts. There's all kinds of crazy stuff. It's pretty. It's a cool building. But yeah, those are the ones I'm most familiar with being down here that I've been involved with myself. Other than that, I see what everybody else sees. I honestly, when I was a big thing that kind of struck me when I was a manager at Chase Bank, actually, and I'd spend a lot of time down here just kind of questioning what was going on with the buildings because they sat empty for a very long time. And when we came down here to look to see where we wanted to open another store, and actually I was surprised to see that there were businesses in that building across the street from Chase Bank, not the one that I went in, but the one across. So, it's something that I'm definitely, I've had an interest in, and it's good to see that their city's growing and bringing businesses downtown. It's very helpful.
Great. Thank you so much. We appreciate you coming in this evening.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so a part of the process is council will adjourn to an executive session to discuss only the candidates who applied and then come back out of the executive session to make a recommendation to full council. So I'm just telling the public that you're welcome to sit and wait on this, but if you don't want to hear how that vote goes, you're free to go because we're going to go across the hall to an office area. So Mrs. Price, you have a motion?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to enter into executive session to consider the appointment of members to the Historic Review Board pursuant to the Ohio Revised Code 121.22G1. Included in the executive session will be all the members of council and council president.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second it.
So moved by Jeff Hallinan. Roll call, please, on the motion to go to executive session.
Hedges,
Yes.
Plitzka,
Let's go.
Yes.
Tice,
Yes.
Hallinan.
Yes.
Moats,
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
Duval.
Yes.
Okay, we'll adjourn the executive session and we'll be back very shortly.